questions? Thank you. Yeah. Sarah. Okay. Prashanti, do you want to share screen again? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, now the next will be the spiritual offerings. Sister Manta will give you information on what is planned at present as spiritual offerings in Prashanti when we go on the pilgrimage. Sister Manta, thank you.
Jai Sai Ram, thank you, Sister Aurel. Apologies for my camera not working. Swami is really temperamental with the camera, and today he's chosen for it not to work. So I think you have to focus on the slides. For this pilgrimage, it warms my heart to see that the organisation is opening out the opportunity to devotees to make an offering to Swami in the form of Vedam chanting and bhajans, and also a musical offering by the young adults. From my understanding, and I will be asking you to defer any questions to Brother Satish, who's our National Spiritual Chair on this call. Devotees will be able to participate in Vedam chanting and bhajans, providing that they register as soon as possible, because my understanding is that the national team are going to formulate the offerings based on the names and the talents of the group that register. So early registration is possible. It is actually necessary. I know that they've said that the deadline is April, but it is going to be really advantageous to the national team if you register as soon as possible, if you are interested in making these spiritual offerings. So they are going to be doing Vedam chanting in Cycleman Hall, and there will be some initial screening taking place here in the UK, and that will be followed up by final check in Puttaparthi. And then regarding the bhajans, you will have the opportunity to sing in Cycleman Hall. Practices will be taking place here. Obviously, there will be screenings taking place as well for that. Yes, and particularly if you are a musician, if you play harmonium or tabla, it will really help the team out if you register early, because there will be practices taking place over here. The national team can get to know who the instrumentalists are, have practices, and then in Prashanti, they will be submitting these offerings to the Prashanti Nilayam campus people, the Prashanti Mandir Bhajan group, who will make the final approval of the offerings before you offer inside Cycleman Hall. So those are the opportunities for Vedam chanting and bhajans offerings for all devotees. For the young adults, they have the opportunity to do musical offerings. Early registration is required for this one as well, just so that they can formulate and work out what the offerings are going to be. So again, potential musical items will be shortlisted, I think, by this week, but possibly extended beyond this week. Potential participants will be screened, obviously, and yes, I will hope that most of you, or all of you that show interest, will be included in this offering, particularly as this is, you know, a golden opportunity. And we will be having practices in this region based on the interest that is registered. So no sort of definite plans as yet. So we're waiting for you to register, and then plans can be formulated, and then you'll be informed of practice dates and things like that as and when they come through to us. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sister Manta. That was very clear. What the spiritual offerings are, and I hope this will encourage our devotees to join, because as I was saying, this is probably a wonderful opportunity for all of us to join together to visit our mother's abode. Thank you, Sister Shanti. Next slide, please. Prashanti? Yeah. Service offerings. Brother Niranjan couldn't make it today. He had an emergency, so he had to go off. So I'll just go through the services that's planned so far, but the planning is still going on. And so there will be a lot more that will be added to these service plans that I'm going to discuss today. Mainly Grama Seva, or the serving in the villages, is being planned while we are there. Again, we will have an opportunity to provide equipment for a hospital or the village school or an orphanage while we are there. Again, the days when we are performing, we are hoping to provide prasadam to everyone, which has happened before during the previous pilgrimages. Again, as Swami says, sealing on desires has to be practiced consciously and continuously. And he asks us to try to eliminate the tendency to waste time, money, food, and energy, and utilize any savings thereby generated for the service of mankind. Swami has insisted on that, and in the later meetings, we will be discussing how we are going to make plans to use the money that we probably collect, mainly practicing sealing on desires, and that will be in the later meetings. Again, Asai bundles of joy, which most of you already know. This is handmade items for the newborn babies, mainly clothes and sheets that they will need for General Hospital. And we've been doing this for some years now, and we can start making now. Whoever is talented to sew these clothes can start doing that and take with us while we go on the pilgrimage, which will be a wonderful offering. And we could provide name to whom these bundles, clothes bundles, should be given at the General Hospital to be utilized for the newborn babies. Again, we do need help with administration and also for manning the offices, including the accommodation offices while we are there. And we need devotees to deal with inquiries, which is likely to be quite a few. And again, help with the props and costumes for the Balvika's play is also very useful. And those who are able to so can get involved, and anyone with any ideas will be welcome to join this. Next slide, Prashanti. The sadhana plans, I'll discuss why do sadhana, why do collective sadhana, and why Gayatri chanting together. And this will be quotes taken from Swami's discourses. And again, there are the sadhana team have come up with 3 sets of sadhana plans. One is for the adults, and one for children 6 to 10, and the third for children aged 11 to 16. And there's also acts of kindness that's been added along with the sadhana. And from the list that most of you might have received already, the sadhana sheets, tracker sheets, which was sent out on email, there are 2 mandatory sadhana ideas that everyone should follow, and you can also pick others from the list that's been sent to. Next slide. And sadhana meetings, we recommend that it's mandatory for all the devotees attending the pilgrimage or who signed up to attend the pilgrimage, but it is open to all. And even the study circles and satsangs are open to all devotees. We are hoping that this will encourage more devotees to join. And the sheets, as I mentioned, is available in our SSSO UK website, and this has been circulated already. If you require any sadhana sheets, please request your center president or myself, and we can forward the copies by email, or emails probably the best, or even hard copies if you need. And sadhana and additional activities are also intended to increase the in-person participation in centers. This is one of Swami's 9-point code of conduct, to attend in person the bhajans and the central activities. And we are really hoping this is an opportunity for new devotees to become active members, and also for active members to become future office bearers. Okay. Yeah, you can, I'll answer the 3 questions from, that's next slide, please, Prashanti. And the 3rd slide, please. Okay. And now we can stop sharing, Prashanti. I'll just quickly go through the answers to the 3 questions that's been asked. Okay, the thing is, it's not allowing me to do this once again. The thing is about sadhana, just one second. I'll, so this computer is sort of moving very fast when I do things. Once again, having a lot of computer issue today. Okay, why do sadhana? These are all quotes from Swami mainly. The sadhana activities have chosen to help us manage our minds over the next 26 weeks and strengthen our connection to Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. From the Divine Discourse on the 9th of October 2005, that is during Dashara, Swami says God is present as an indweller uniformly in human beings as well as insects, birds, and beasts. Human life itself is the manifestation of divine power. One has to have a pure and selfless heart to realize this truth. In order to realize this truth, every human being has to constantly contemplate on God. Swami again insists that only a human being who can contemplate on God and realize the God within us. By doing so, our hearts will become pure and peaceful. The moment we attain that stage, God will surely and perceptibly manifest in us. This must be our sadhana. The practice of dhyana alone, Swami says, cannot make God manifest to the sadhaka, that's us. These are Swami's divine words. To help us with this preparation, the sadhana team have come up with the plans, keeping the sadhana in mind from Swami's teachings. And coming to answer, why do collective sadhana? Bhagavan has taught and proven to us that prayer is mankind's greatest strength. Furthermore, the power of united prayers can never be underestimated. Swami has often insisted on the importance of unity, being in the presence of good company, and group spiritual activities either at our homes or in the centers in the form of bhajans, study circles, and service activities. Swami says in his Divine Discourse, March the 3rd, 1992, that peace cannot be achieved by just an individual effort. So he asks us to come together, pray together, and he says the whole world will benefit. Singing together in harmony is Sankirtanam. There is a vast difference between Kirtanam and Sankirtanam, Swami says. Kirtanam is merely an individual activity, and it is an individual's effort for one's own gain, whereas Sankirtanam can confer welfare on the entire universe. And hence we need to do this collective sadhana prior to a visit to his divine abode. And again, coming to why Gayatri chanting, which has been given for the children and for adults in the sadhana plan. One of the recommended sadhanas is Gayatri Mantra, which Bhagavan says is very powerful and always encouraged everyone to chant Gayatri Mantra. At the Upanayana ceremony held in Prasanthi Nilayam on the 17th of March 1983, Swami said, "You may or may not chant any mantra, but do remember that by chanting the Gayatri Mantra, the benefits are there for everyone to see. By continuously chanting the Gayatri Mantra, you yourself will reach the state of fulfillment and the sense of feeling that you have achieved something." In another discourse in Prasanthi Nilayam on the 10th of February 2000, Swami has said, chanting the Gayatri Mantra purifies the mind and confers devotion, detachment, and wisdom. This is why Gayatri Mantra has been chosen. And chanting Gayatri Mantra 108 times is a very powerful sadhana. And sadhana activities. Prashanti, do you want to share the slide again, ma?
Yes, sir.
Next slide. Okay. This is the sadhana tracker, and the 2 with the 3 stars are mandatory for everyone who's planning to attend the pilgrimage. And you may have already started this from the email that you may have received earlier. That is Gayatri Mantra chanting 108 times a day and reciting 108 names of Swami on Thursdays and Sundays. Rudram chanting or learning every day, even if it's going to be, part of the Anuvag or very little, but doing it every day. Likita Japam, or, writing Swami's name 108 times. It could be 27 times or 54 times daily. And so 15 minutes of meditation. And this could be your chosen meditation, either Jyoti meditation or chanting Soham or reciting his divine name or meditating on his form. It will be your choice. And again, starting the day with Suprabhadam every morning, and early morning prayers and night prayers are recommended. Family prayers once a week, and attending the center or group bhajans regularly. Reading Sai literature daily, healthy eating, healthy living altogether, including walking and exercises, and healthy listening to bhajans, classical music, or even to Swami's discourses. Speaking softly, lovingly, and being positive, which is what Swami wants us to do. Conserving energy, especially switching off the lights and gadgets when we are not used, and when we are not using them, and practicing sealing on desires. Swami always has said not to waste food, money, or time, and also getting involved in service activities. Next slide, please, Prashanti. These are some of acts of kindness that we can practice either in our own home, being kind to all the family members and letting our siblings know how much we love them, and also allowing the siblings to take the turn first, making someone else's bed, any activities that is kind that we can practice at home. Again, doing things to protect the planets, like turning the tap off while brushing the teeth, or making a bird feeder, turning off the lights, which I mentioned earlier, picking up a piece of litter and putting it in the bin. Being very kind to others that you meet in a day-to-day life, making room for someone to sit next to you, or getting up and giving up the seat for them. Cleaning up the mess, even if it is not your mess, just make the environment clean. And baking a cake, or providing food for people around us, or any visitors or neighbors. And giving instead of giving a list with a wish list, giving them a list that what you can do for them is also recommended. And offering help to the elderly or vulnerable neighbors, and also giving to charity is again recommended, and take food to the food bank and all that, whatever we can do. Next slide, please, Prashanti. These are sadhana sheet for 6 to 10 years old. Again, Gayatri Mantra, chanting and early morning prayers, but it's 9 times, 3 times in the morning, afternoon, and at night. Food prayer before meals, night prayers, and 5 minutes of silent sitting, speaking the truth, and asking the kids to take part in acts of kindness. Next slide, please, Prashanti. And this is for older children, 11 to 16. Apart from what we mentioned previously, they will have to take part in reading Sai literature, and also in Likita Japam, writing Swami's 108 names if they prefer. Again, the early morning prayer and chanting Gayatri Mantra will be mandatory for them. Next slide, please, Prashanti. Yeah. So now let me invite Brother Kapil, who has been on these pilgrimages and has had a vast amount of experience to tell us. So let us all be encouraged to join the pilgrimage listening to Brother Kapil. Sai Ram, Kapil.
Saramanti,
Yeah.
Offering my most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, respected elders, dearest brothers and sisters and children, Jai Sairam. I've been asked to share a few points pertaining to my experiences. I'll probably cover a range of points pertaining to transformation, personal transformation, sadhana. We've talked a lot about sadhana, particularly just now with Aruranti. And the impact that these various pilgrimages that I've been part of have had on my life. First of all, I think it was alluded to earlier, it was mentioned by Vasuki Auntie that this is the first time in 8 years that we're having an opportunity, or there's a chance for us to go as a collective, as a UK Sai organization, to Prashanti Nilayam, to the holy sanctum sanctorum of Prashanti Nilayam. And it's said, you know, not even a blade of grass can move without his will. So who are we to dictate whether we are making that choice to visit Prashanti Nilayam? Just bear with me on this point, but who is it to say that ultimately it's us that's making that choice? It's Swami who's the one that's orchestrating everything. This is, and this term has been floated around a lot, a golden opportunity. And believe you me, when I say that, I honestly do believe this, because there have been various moments in my life where, and I'll narrate 2 or 3 instances where I've wanted to go Prashanti, or as a family we've wanted to go to Bharti, but it's never happened. And there have been instances where I had never even had the thought of visiting Bharti, and you know, the opportunity just came about, and there, lo and behold, I've been there as part of sadhana meetings, practices, and eventually there in the portals of Prashanti Nilayam. My earliest memory coming to this point was back in the late 80s. As a child, my family hails from the north of India, so we had visited family, and the plan was to visit Bharti. It must have been in the year 88, 89. Everything was arranged. You know, tickets, those days, it was very, very rarely heard of that you'd get a flight, an internal flight from, let's say, the north to the south. But even that was arranged. My parents had done everything. My mother, being very meticulous in terms of organizing everything, project managing everything, she had arranged everything. We were due to leave our village in the Punjab province at 4 a.m. to reach the station to begin our journey to Bangalore. And we received the unfortunate news. My uncle, my mother's brother, had come and told us at 2 a.m. that time, that my granddad had passed away. So there and then all plans had to be dropped. You look back on it, you reflect on on that experience. We weren't meant to go. I can say that. Maybe some of you may or may not be able to relate to such incidents or such episodes. But when I look back on it, when my family looks back on it, we knew that ultimately, after the emotions had subsided, we weren't meant to. It wasn't our time. Swami didn't want us to come that time. Fast forward to the early 2000s, I've had opportunities to join various types of pilgrimages, be it youth pilgrimages, led by our then National Youth Coordinator, Brother Kapil, or on pilgrimages with Ajit Popat, or even national UK pilgrimages in 2010. And I remember there was one such pilgrimage in the early 2000s, 2004, if my memory serves me correct, that I never had an intention to join this particular pilgrimage with Ajit Popat. But things just sort of fell into place. I was told there was a sadhana meet that I wanted to attend. We talked about the importance of attending these sadhana meets. Trust me, it's not until later on when the penny drops you realize how significant those moments are and how important those moments are. Coming together, praying together. I'll touch upon those points as well. I had no intention on joining that initial sadhana meet. In fact, being the youngster that I was at the time, my interest was more in sport. There was a cricket match happening, and I was more inclined to watch that on TV as opposed to attending a sadhana meet. And it's just so happened that I ended up coming there. Somebody said, "Look, you must go." I joined the brother I was taking along. I was, after that initial experience of being in that sadhana meet, listening to Ajit Popat sir, it really changed my perspective. It really cemented that desire that, okay, I want to go. We've all experienced this. It doesn't have to be an Ajit Popat sir, or it doesn't have to be a Shiktu Bai. It can be anyone. But the point I'm trying to drive home is that there is an example, and I've given two examples, worlds apart, poles apart. One where I wanted to go, or as a family, we were adamant on going to Prashanti, that it wasn't meant to be. And one where I never had the slightest inclination. Yes, I wanted to go Parthi that year, but I never thought I'd join this particular group. So the point is, yes, it is his will. But then at the same time, on a human level, there has to be that desire. And that desire perhaps comes around or comes about as a result of understanding why is it we're going there, and the impacts and the positive impact that it, spiritually speaking, that it will have on us and on our lives. So these are golden opportunities. Swami is the one that's orchestrating everything. This opportunity has not taken place or has not happened for the last 8 years. The last one is 2015. There are a few of us on this call who attended that. So let's not miss this opportunity, is my first point. It's his will, but let's question, how often have these opportunities come about? Second thing I wanted to mention is with regards to the transformation, the transformation that takes place as a result of, being part of these pilgrimages. And it's on two levels, or two perspectives, let's say, both of which are on an individual level as well as a collective. So it's the sadhana leading up to the departure. That sadhana has a tremendous impact on you. We talked earlier, or it was mentioned earlier, how coming together, Auntie gave that example of, Kirtana and Sankirtana. The analogy that I've used in the past when I've spoken to youth is, the sun rays alone, and I'm not sure whether Swami has actually quoted this, but sun rays alone may not have that sort of impact on you, but if you were to use a magnifying glass and you were to concentrate those sun rays, the impact can be very devastating. If we were to use that sort of analogy, when we come together, when we pray together, when we sing together, the impact is even more so. So that sadhana that we're involved in, you know, chanting a particular prayer at a set time throughout the day, all of us doing that together, it shows that we're operating. Again, if I was to use another analogy, we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. If there's a choir taking place, if there's an orchestra, there are various parts of an orchestra, but they all have their pieces and they all know when to come in together. And if they don't abide by what the dictum is in terms of when and where they're meant to come in, particularly at the same time, then the music won't be pleasing, won't be soulful. Likewise, us coming together and praying together, it unifies us. It enables us to concentrate on him more efficiently, particularly as a collective. Swami would say, what would he prefer if 1,000 of us devotees were to approach him? Would he prefer us saying, each of us have constructed a road, or all of us have come together and poured our resources, our efforts in constructing that one road? And I believe, hand on heart, Swami would always go for the latter, because that shows, that displays, that collectiveness, us coming together as a Sai fraternity, as a Sai family, brothers and sisters, arms in arm, working together, working towards a common goal. So that's the importance of sadhana, particularly collective sadhana. So sadhana leading up, but does it stop there? No. Sadhana there, whilst we're there in Prashanti Nilayam, and also on the way back. Now, why on the way back? Again, transformation. All these trips that I've attended, and it's perhaps the same for a lot of you, but I can definitely attest to this, the impact that it's had on me thereafter coming back. Because that modus operandi that we get involved in, when so Auntie alluded to, Gayatri chanting or Vedam chanting or Likita Japanamam, all these things, it sort of gets imbibed in our day-to-day life, our day-to-day activity. And we slowly see that transformation. It could happen on a subtle level to begin with, but we may be totally oblivious to it. But later on in life, when we reflect back on things, we notice, we start, joining the dots together. This has happened, or what's happening now? The transformation that's taken place within me, or the way I am now, how my character has developed, how it's evolved, is a result of X, Y, and Z, coupled with Swami's grace. Man's effort with God's grace, they're like opposite poles. They have to come together. God's grace is always there, but we have to put in our effort. That's where man's effort has to come in. That is through sadhana. If I was to use another analogy, again, something that I've shared with youth. See, I mentioned earlier that it's all Swami's will, and I firmly believe that these various pilgrimages that each of us may have participated in, it could be a cultural offering, it could be a Baal Vikas play, Sai Mahimas that used to take place from the UK. It could be a Grama Seva, a service offering. I well and truly believe that these are just excuses that Swami has conjured up to draw us to Prashanti Nilayam. And why does he draw us to Prashanti Nilayam? An analogy that I've given to a lot of youth is that Swami is like that universal gardener. Bear with me for one moment. Be it when he was physically there or even now, it's irrelevant. He's drawn us to Prashanti Nilayam. He's drawn us back home. And whilst we are there, he's slowly planting seeds in us. Now, the farmer will plant the seeds, but the seeds alone won't grow. You have to water them, you have to nourish them, they have to be in the right environment in terms of compost, What are those things in a spiritual context? The right environment, the compost that we use, is akin to the company that we keep. So that's one thing that you will notice, how sadhana impacts you leading up to the trip and even on the way up, on the return, and how we lead our lives, our respective lives back here in the UK. How perspective of things will change. This is something I can definitely attest to. That sadhana that we do is akin to the watering of the seed. So the growth that we experience in the plant is effectively our growth. So Swami is planting those seeds in us. But the sadhana that we do there and on our return back to the UK, we continue with that. And that discipline has to be there. We continue with this sadhana, and we will notice things change around us, within us and around us. Till that day when we become that desired fruit, or we become that desired plant, that flower, that tree that he wishes for us to become, and then we can bear our own fruits. Swami has used analogies akin to this many a times. So the importance of sadhana is such, we may not experience it, we may not be aware of it to begin with, but it's something that will dawn upon us much later in life. Personally speaking, this is something that I've seen myself in terms of how my perspective of things have changed, my attitude towards various things in life, how I interact with people, how I speak with people. And this sadhana, it should become more of a constant daily reflection. Am I becoming what he desires? Lastly, I'll finish with this point. And it's not to blow my own trumpet or anything, but I will say this much. I wouldn't be what I am today, particularly in terms of my involvement in the organization, if it wasn't for those pilgrimages. I attended a center recently. I mean, as part of my remit as Joint National Youth Coordinator, that is my role, to go around visiting centers, interacting with various young adults, youth. There was one such occasion a month or so back. I was visited Region 1, and I was asked on the spot to speak. And I had to pause for a minute because I looked around and I saw my various brothers and sisters whom I've developed friendships with. The brothers that I sat with, who I've known for the past 20 odd years. And I thought to myself, if it wasn't for these pilgrimages, I would not know who these people are. I wouldn't have such a good rapport with them, such a wonderful friendship with them. I wouldn't have benefited from that if it hadn't been for me being or participating in that pilgrimage. So friendships are formed, memories, are created, wonderful memories. But the point I made about the organization, if it wasn't for me, and my very first pilgrimage to Prashanti was back in the 80s. And I owe my parents a lot for that. Because if it wasn't for their actions to take me to Prashanti Nilayam, I don't think I'd be where I am today. So they are the ones who effectively, yes, Swami's will. Yes, Swami's will is always there. Human effort, what I said earlier. Remember that. There's no point us umming and erring that, should I go? The opportunity is there. Take it. Let's, as they say in English, let's grab the ball by both horns. The opportunity is there for us to go on this. I wouldn't be who I am today, particularly in terms of especially when it comes to my involvement in the organization, if it wasn't for those initial pilgrimages. So I owe my parents a lot for that. And on that note, I urge all the parents and those who have not attended this call, those who are on this call, please convey this message to all those parents. There has been a lot of interest expressed initially. Has that been translated into registration? I don't know. I think a lot of work still needs to be done. But I urge those parents, using me as an example, what my parents did for me and how I've become inculcated with this organization. This organization means a lot to me. It's a sacred organization. It bears Swami's name. I urge all those parents, please do not have any doubts. Here is a wonderful opportunity for your children to be part and parcel of this trip. I urge those parents who have children that are in the youth category, please do not overlook this opportunity. I urge individuals who know of youth within their respective samitis and centers to please encourage your youth, your parents, whoever, to join this pilgrimage. The last one happened 8 years ago. Who knows when the next one will be? And with that, I'll hand it over to our auntie, Sarah.
Unmute. Yeah. Thank you, Kapil. That was wonderful. Really, really wonderful and very inspiring. So hopefully, we'll see more devotees making an effort. I know there are lots of hiccups with cost of the flights and things, but this opportunity is not going to come within the next year or two again. And whether we'll be able to go at that time also is difficult. Thank you, Kapil. That was wonderful, wonderful talk. Thank you so much. Prashanti, can you share again, ma? The slide. Okay, next slide. Okay, now I'll just discuss the few arrangements that we know so far and give you an overview of the pilgrimage. Next slide, Prashanti. Coming to passports, it's very, very important that you all have a passport that is up to date, that it should be valid for 6 months, at least by the time you're leaving UK on the pilgrimage. E-visa is now available for India. Again, there is a website here, but I'm happy to send it to you individually if you need. And the cost is also around £20, I was told, for a 30-day visa now if you apply online. And you can directly apply online through this website. And also make sure that you have travel insurance and you're up to date with vaccinations. The common vaccination that's usually advised for India is diphtheria, hepatitis A, tetanus, and typhoid. Baggage allowance, of course, you all follow the rules of the airlines, but a few kilograms spare will always be useful so that you can take a few things to be given away in Prashanti as part of the service and part of sealing on desires, full stop. And then the closest airport is Bengaluru, but it doesn't mean that you all have to travel to Bengaluru. And a direct flight from Heathrow to Bengaluru is, if you wish to have that, and that'll be on British Airways. Otherwise, you will be able to go to Delhi or Bombay or Chennai and change over as well. That's also possible if and how you wish. And also Hyderabad, you can change in other cities and then go to Bangalore. And while you're on the flight, please request a vegetarian meal and make sure that you don't request a Hindu meal because that's not always vegetarian. And again, if you need special services while you're flying, like requirement for wheelchair, all this will have to be informed early. And all the devotees who are attending the pilgrimage should bring a valid passport and visa, and also 2 passport-sized pictures, which is required by the accommodation office in Prashanti. Photocopies of the above documentation are needed in case the original is lost, and so you will be able to get another one without a long delay. We may be requesting flight arrival and departure information prior to your travel, and when requested, please provide these. There are taxi services from Bangalore to Bengaluru to Prasanthi is possible, and this can be arranged, and it normally takes only 2 hours now, and we will provide the taxi details as well at a later date. Next slide, Prasanthi, please. And again, I can't insist, all devotees will need to register and then also register on arrival at the accommodation office for accommodation, and also pay for the room for the number of days that you're planning to stay. Room allocation is done either by the accommodation office in UK or by the UK admin team or the accommodation office in Prasanthi. All devotees coming to pilgrimage are encouraged to stay together and preferably within the ashram unless there is an absolute necessary to go out of the ashram. And we would like to stay as a group. We'll be given the north block, which is usually the block that is given for the whole group. And the tariff of the rooms is £700 for recently renovated north block room without the air conditioning. And if you prefer air conditioning, it's £950 a day. which is extremely reasonable, as you can see. An additional £50 is charged for rooms with hot water or geyser facility. Air-conditioned room and hot water cannot be guaranteed to everyone, as there are only a few rooms with these facilities. Next slide, please, Prashant. Our organization is not responsible for travel arrangements to Puttaparthi, so you need to book the travel yourself. But we can provide you with the contact details for taxi. Usually this comes from Puttaparthi to collect you and take you back to Prashanti. If you have any food allergies or dietary requirements, please, you need to ask the canteen personnel who are devotees who are serving about this, but there will be information provided. And any details about the wheelchairs that if we hear about that earlier from you in the ashram, that will be useful for us to organize this for you. And if you have any medical conditions, you may want to share this with your doctor confidently and with confidential. And again, if you need to keep the medication in the fridge, we can soon find out how this can be possible. Next slide, please, Prashanti. Thanks. And the dress code in Prashanti, all to wear the UK group scarf, which will be provided, and more details will be given to you in a couple of months. White and white is what the Bal Vikas children will be wearing. Churidar and shawl for girls, and shirt and trouser or kurta for boys. White and white for men's, and no shorts will be allowed. Colored sari or churidar for women, but this shouldn't be wearing sleeveless or shorts. And we also strongly recommend that all women should cover the shoulders either with shawl or saris, which is the etiquette of the ashram. Next slide, please. Western toilet facilities are only available in your accommodation, and again, bags, you're allowed to take a small bag, carry, or a purse, which can be just big enough to fit the Vedam book and room key. And big bags will not be allowed, but there is a place where you can leave your bag and they'll give you a token free of charge, and you can collect it later. And there is actually water available in the mandir, in Sai Kulwant Hall at the back if you want. But whether you are allowed to carry water bottles is, we're not entirely sure about it, but we will discuss, we'll find this out for you later. But you will be able to drink the water from the water cooler at the back of Sai Kulwant Hall. Next slide, please. Finally, a very important points, deadline for registering for parents for Bal Vikas children hoping to participate in the play is actually tomorrow, 5th of March. And this will allow time for the play to be organized. All the other devotees' deadline is end of April. And this week, because we need a time to sort out the accommodation. National website link is given there. And if you have any questions, please send it to National Pilgrimage at srisatyasai.org.uk. National Pilgrimage admin team will respond to all queries and questions. And plans to have a microsite on our website to provide as much as information as possible is currently happening, but soon I'm hoping this will take effect. Next slide, please, Prashanti. The pilgrimage starts on Monday, the 31st of July at 7 a.m. and all devotees are expected to arrive in Prasanthi Nilayam on Saturday, the 29th, or Sunday, the latest by Sunday, the 30th of July. All future meetings are mandatory for people who are planning to attend the pilgrimage. The next national meeting for Sadhana meeting will be on the 25th of March at Oxleywood Primary School in Watford. Regional Sadhana meeting is on the 29th of April, and this is likely to be in the middle of the region around Hatfield or Welling Garden City area. Saturday, 3rd of June will be the second and final national meeting and the venue to be confirmed. Early July, there'll be a final gathering, but there won't be any further meetings. Next slide, please. These are some of the team that's working, and anybody who's got any skills and want to take part in helping out, please do so. You could contact me or your center presidents. That's a Sadhana meeting and content planning, music programs, Balvikas program, service activities, media support is needed. And again, for content and technical support, admin team for registrations, passports, visa, or any other queries. And liaising with the Prasanthi is another team, and again, admin team for accommodation in India, and we need admin office in UK as well. Next slide, please. These are more details that you will be discussed in the future meetings: ashram etiquette, canteen times, times for the bhajans, bookstore timings, shopping center timings, details of trips to nearby sites. Just mainly we are thinking of visiting the super specialty hospital, and also the village where Swami was born, his house. And a Sailing on Desires program will be discussed in detail further, and reading lists and study circles ideas will be also provided. Next slide, please. Prasanthi, that's it. And this is, you can download the Prasanthi Nilayam app from App Store or from Google Play, which will give you more information. Next slide, please. IT skills are needed to create microsite, update websites, pages, strengthen media team. So please contact our media lead, Brother Amit Patel, or you can contact me and I'll pass the information. Thank you. Next slide, please. Any questions, please? This is all clear, but you can also individually approach me or your center presidents if you have any queries, further queries that you can come up with. But any more queries? No? Questions? Is it clear for now? Next few sadhana meetings, we'll discuss this in further detail. So your questions will be answered. And you can always send your questions to the email ID that I had given earlier. I can send it to you all again. So if there isn't anything else, we'll probably conclude with the 1 Om and 3 Shantis.
Sorry, Marlanti, I think there are a few questions in the chat.
Okay, Ma, what? Tell me. Tell on the chat. Okay, please read out, Prashanti. 1 second.
Yeah. So someone's put Sairam, as I'm yet unsure if I'm attending or not. However, I would like to join the Vedam chanting practice. How do I get details of practice dates?
Okay, that is depending on where the practice is happening near your center, because as a national team, we are not arranging the Vedam chanting classes at present for the pilgrimage, but there are several centers that have approached asking for Vedam, so to learn Vedam. So please, you can contact your center president to find out, or you can send me your details and I can find out if there is any Vedam practices around your region or somewhere nearby. Okay.
Sorry, Sister Oral, can I just interject there and say that I am in the process of arranging Vedam chanting sessions, just generally, not necessarily for the pilgrimage. It's just a case of and a matter of finding teachers really that are willing to give their time, and that information will be coming down through the spiritual coordinators in your centers or your center chairs, or both actually. So yes, we are working behind the scenes. It's just a case of getting some agreement from teachers to teach. That's all. So
Thank you, Sister Marta. Yeah. Next question, Prasanthi.
Yeah, and then the final thing is, so Siram, tracker sheets for Sadhana have not been received. Can you please resend? And I think a couple of devotees have kindly put it in the chat, but maybe we can email it out as well. The Sadhana, like tracker sheets.
All right. Okay. Let me just see which devotees they are. So I can, because we have sent it to all center presidents to circulate. Okay. Right. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I think, yeah, we will be able to, but it is in the website, national website, Sri Satya Sai organization .org.uk. It is on the website. If you go onto the srisatyasai.org.uk website, it is there for you to download as well and print out. But I can resend it, but I just need your email ID and everything separately for that. Yeah. You can ask your center president to contact me, please.
Sairam, we've got a question, please.
Sanam sister,
yes.
Yeah, we both husband and wife registered as a couple in one
Yes.
form. Do we have to register individually?
Individually, brother, you need to register individually. Even
Oh,
if you're going as a couple or as a family, every single person traveling will have to register.
So we have to register individually.
Individually, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sairam.
Sorry, there was another question.
Yeah, sorry, my auntie. So, Auntie Pavitra's put, what time can we leave Prashanti on the 6th?
It's after the evening bhajan is what the plan is at the moment. After the evening bhajans, evening session, darshan session. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's it at the moment.
Okay. Any other questions? You can also send it to me or send it through your center president to me. Everything is fine, actually. You can even contact me directly if you have any queries at all. So I'll be able to. Okay. All right. Thanks, Hitesh, for sharing it. Okay, if there is no further questions, let's end with one Om and three Shantis. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you very much for attending, everyone. Good night. Sai Ram. Sai Ram. Thank you.